Hello and welcome back into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and today we're going to discuss a rumor, a free agency rumor that's been floated out there. Ian Begley actually reported on it, and it's about Duncan Robinson. Let's check it out. All right, so basically, it was pretty simple. the report, which was that the Knicks, there are fans. There are Duncan Robinson fans within the Knicks front office, and that they're keeping an eye on Duncan Robinson. Now, he's a restricted free agent, plays for the Miami Heat, and that means that the Heat can match any offer, basically, that is made to Duncan. So it might require like a poison pill type situation to pry him loose if he's worth it. And we're going to look into that. We're going to compare him to several other players that are played a similar role, including our very own Reggie Bullock. But before we get to that, let's just look at Duncan's general stats for last season. He averaged 13.1 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game. Not a high assist guy, but you know, one thing I like about him is, for one, he's 27 years old. So he's pretty young. He has a quick high release. He can shoot over, and you know, he's 6'8", I believe, so he can shoot over people, which is a wonderful luxury. He's an expert at the dribble handoff three. He's a catch and shoot guy. He can catch it off, off the move. He can catch and shoot. Not sure he has a step back or a side by that much. I've seen him do it where he takes one bounce and shoots. One thing that's really interesting about him is above the break, that's where he hits most of his 3-pointers, and at a very high percentage point. So that's nice for the Knicks, because the Knicks happen to have corner wizards like RJ. Knox is going away, and some of the other guys are going away, but Julius himself also connects from the corner as well a lot. So he won't be taking space away from our players now that are highly efficient shooting from there. So that's a nice plus. And one thing is, he is the fastest in the NBA, in history of the NBA, to reach 500 threes. Did it very quickly. Okay, so the next thing is, let's look at player comps. Here we go. So we're looking at Reggie Bullock, Joe Harris, and Bogdanovic of the Hawks. Now, these are the 2021 per 100 possession stats. Now, if per 100 possessions, the points per game, Bogdan is the leader with 27.1. He had a fantastic season for the Hawks. Further behind is Joe Harris at 21.9 and Duncan at 20.7. Reggie Bullock at 18.2. So Reggie brings up the rear in this situation. The 3-point percentage is Joe Harris. Man, he almost shot. For a while, he was shooting over 50%. He finished at 47.5%. Sensational numbers. Bogdan 43.8, Reggie 41%, and Duncan 40.8%. So Duncan and Reggie very similar. Now, the reason I put these stats over here is to look at the offensive rating and the defensive rating. Now, the NBA average is 12.3, I believe, or 12.1. It's a 12 point something, but it's below the half mark. So here, Duncan's offensive rating is 113, and his defensive rating was 114. Now, last season, though, the season previous, the 2019-2020, I believe his offensive rating was 124, I think. Somewhere in the 120s, in the low 120s. So he had a little bit of a tick down this season, but you can still see he's an incredibly efficient 3-point shooter. He's probably one of the top 5 in the NBA at 3-point shooting. And we're looking at 2 of the other 5 here, pretty much right now. Joe Harris, 126. He led in this category. Bogdan, 122. Reggie, 118. Very respectable, very good. It's a plus. Now, defensive rating. This is where Reggie gives us the special stuff right here. 111. 111. That's very, very good for a small forward. You get big guard, small forward. And he often had to guard the best offensive players, the wing offensive players against the Knicks. Duncan and Bogdan are very similar, 114. Joe Harris, 117. Now, the season before, he was better defensively. Now, we look at the differentials, though. Duncan, it's a -1. Reggie, it's a +7. Joe Harris, it's a +9. and Bogdan, it's a +8. So, Reggie, Harris, and Bogdan are more in a similar range. Duncan is below that. So it's something to bear in mind when we're talking about spending the amount of money it might take to get this kind of guy, which we'll get to pretty soon. Let's look at Reggie and Bogdan side by side together. All right, so here you can see I got a lot of stats here. Minutes, the minutes were very similar. Duncan took 8.5 3-point attempts. Reggie took about 6. So a little more, which ended up resulting in 1 extra made 3-pointer per game, which when you look down at the points per game, 13.1 compared to 10.9, that's almost a 3 points difference. So it's almost shows up right there. But, free throw percentage, Reggie led. 3-point percentage, Reggie led. Field goal percentage, Reggie led. Thing is, Duncan is a little more versatile. He has a little more hop in his step. He can get to the rim. I've seen him. He's a pretty decent with the pick and roll. He adds a lot offensively. Defense is the major issue with him. But, he's a competent defender. Competent, he's not in Reggie's league. That's for sure. Now, the one thing I want you guys to look at once it scrolls down is, once again, the plus minus. You're going to be stunned at how similar all their stats are, including the plus minus. Right here. Let's zoom in a little bit. 1.6. They were both plus 1.6. So, very, very similar type players. The difference being the defensive end. And the next difference is how much. How much would it cost to sign Duncan away from Miami or to re-sign Reggie? What would be the smarter move? I think in some ways there's a great argument to be made for trying to go after Duncan, because you want to stretch the Heat as far as they can. They have to re-sign. They don't have to, but they also have Kendrick Nunn to think about. They only have about $25 million available. So, and they may want to go after a Lowry. Ooh, my chair just. All right. They may want to go after a Lowry point guard. So there's not that much money around. So they're going to wait and they're going to see what offers come in for Duncan. So let's say they're talking about they might be willing to go up to $20 million per, not more than $20 million. So the Heat might offer a 3 for 60, 4 for 80. We'll see. He's 27, and Reggie's 30, so it's a big 3-year difference. But Reggie, I believe, was going to be effective for at least another season or two, similar to what we saw. Maybe, his 3-point percentage won't be as high, but you never know. I mean, he might have found his groove. I believe Reggie will give a similar season next year to what he gave this season. So is it better to go for Reggie like a 2 for 24 to bring Reggie back? Much cheaper, $12 million. But it would be nice to try to make the Heat sweat a little bit. So what about a 3 for 66 offer? $22 million a year. Maybe even go 3 for 69. For Duncan. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to pay for that. But 3-point shooting is a premium, and this guy can basically get his shot off at any time. He is a world-class, fantastic 3-point shooter. So these are the things to consider. And again, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.